Spin Southwest, your number one hit music station. I'm your on-air talent, Goswell Dreddy Jonas, and wow, we just had a phenomenal show for the segment. Welcome to the Wave. That being said, we have the man that did it, the one that sent us off. We have Murli. So, Murli, you've been in the scene, you've been in the game for a while. I would consider you a veteran of the Irish hip hop
Hey,
scene.
it's
And
mad though.
I just want to ask you, since you started, what has changed within the scene?
I'd say a lot has changed. One thing that I could say for sure is that it's expanded and there's like a lot more people doing it now. In Ireland was like, I mean, we just had some of the one of the dopest project I heard this year. Period. Everywhere in the world is that Jordan Tunji just dropped
Right.
a tape there, and I'm just listening to it. And I was like, man, the production and that, and like just the professionalism of it all. I'm like, I can't. If this was like maybe 7 or so years ago, even at the time when I was coming up, I would not believe that was done in Ireland. But I think the level now. I mean, he's on. I can't remember the label, but like he's doing the big time. He's collaborating with like
Kehlani.
Kalani, Lil Baby,
Yes.
Bryson Taylor and stuff like that. That's something we would have dreamed about. You know what I mean? Like 7, 8, 10 years back. And then you have not just him. There's so many people now doing it in different arenas as well. And I think it's so diverse as well. Do you know what I mean? It's not like it's not one dimensional. And it's just great to see, man. It's like just see Ireland represented like on a global stage by these artists. It's just like I just can't wait to see what happens from here on.
Yeah. It has grown exponentially. Like
Yeah,
yeah, like you're correct. But people like Jordan, there's so much growth within the scene.
it's crazy.
I have seen your journey take you a lot of places. Hip hop, this music is taking you around the world. You've been to Cuba, you've been to America. Music is taking you to Switzerland, multiple
Yeah.
countries. What advice would you give somebody coming up?
It's an interesting one, because like you said earlier that, how long I've been doing this, and you will call me a vet in the game. And it's
Yes.
interesting because I think with that also come personally, I feel like anything that I can offer as far as advice, I can also take.
Right.
I can also receive from, especially from the younger artists doing it right now because from what they're doing, I mean, maybe like I've always known that the people who done it before me,
Mm-hmm.
I came onto their shoulder, you know, I landed on their shoulder to do what I was able to do with the guys and the crew at the time,
Yes.
and and I'd hope that we've also laid down some sort of foundation or another layer of bricks
Yes.
for the next generation to come and do what they're doing, and we're gonna continue to grow. But if I have any advice that I may share with people, it's like it may take you a while to get to this point, but like find the authentic you. Do you know what I mean? It looks different for everybody. I'm not gonna say like they used to be saying hip hop is like keeping it real. I don't know what that really means anymore because I would say keep it you. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
that's what's gonna sustain that. That's what's gonna last because even as you change as a person, that will be reflected in the music and in the moves that you make as an artist. So find you and find your voice and your tones and like be a fan of your own music. Like, you know what I mean? Like I think there's so many reasons why you could do it, and I can't front at anybody for doing it for whatever reason it is. But I say like if you're really about the art of like rapping or writing and producing and just making music, you gotta look at us and say like you're bringing something to the world that no one's heard before because you are unique to who you are. So don't deny the world that you know that that uniqueness that you bring is needed. So if you find you, that is what's gonna make you stand out, and maybe even make sense like financially over time it will probably come, because sometimes you can chase that first,
Yes.
and then trying to find yourself, and then people say, oh, you sold out because you let us down, you know what I
Right,
mean?
right, right, right,
But
right.
find the authentic you, and that will like stand the test of time.
If you ask me, that sounds like sound advice.
Right.
You've been in. You touched on it a little bit in what you were saying. You've been in groups. You
Yeah.
were in Rusangano family, and you've had past groups in the past
Yeah.
prior to that.
Yeah.
You've also done solo projects. What do you rather? Do you like working solo or do you like working in a group? Where's your
I
what
would
do you like
actually,
doing the most?
yeah, you know what? I'll go back and say I have never worked solo ever before,
Oh wow.
and even the most solo of my projects have had people involved in it, and they might not be credited, they
Mm-hmm.
might not have been seen, they might not have been, the roles that they play might differ from
Mm-hmm.
project to project. But I think even projects that just carry my name, be it EPs and stuff, I've always collaborated with people, and I'm very big on like no man is an island, and I love the energy that other people bring to a project, because I believe everyone has something that I won't be able to approach it the way they would approach it. So I like to be in, even if it's just like a, I consider people who, like, even if I'm going into a studio and record, and there was just, I don't know, somebody there cleaning the room. They provided, they made that environment what it was for me to go in there and do the things. You know what I mean? Like, because I mean,
Okay.
like a piece of, like a shard of, I don't know, a
So
broken
there's
glass or something could
no
have,
big eyes and no little U's.
no, everybody. So it's like, that's why I say, like, solo, like even stuff that I'm working on right now, I get inspiration from other artists, and I look at that as collaboration still. You know what I mean? So it's like there isn't any idea that only I bring. It's just so I love. So it's not even a case of I prefer. Like I have no other option but to work with people.
Okay, so it's
Yeah,
constant collaboration. You're in constant collaboration.
100%. Without like if I
Yeah.
if I say I'm not collaborating, that's like saying that it didn't take a couple of people to make me.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's like I manifested myself into the world myself. Even that to
So
collaboration.
from birth,
From
you've been
birth, I've been
collaborating.
collaborating. You get me?
So I do want to touch on how in your past projects, the last ones that you put out, from Sangano to the other ones, you had a fast pace. It was very fast pace. When we get to the intangibles, it's slower pace. Is that
Yeah.
something that you did on purpose?
Do you know what it was? Is like that mixtape. So intangible for me was, it was literally me learning to like produce music again. You know, because because when I was with Sangano family, I didn't produce at all for those years, and then I was just like, there was one summer we were together, and I was like, you know what? And I was saying it to the lads, was like, I think I'm gonna get back into producing, so I'm gonna go get a couple of equipments, and then so intangible is pretty much me testing different sounds to see how I will sound on these new beats that I'm now making,
Right.
and so it was preparation for what was to come. So yeah, that's literally what that was. I mean, also because I think that the high energy of Rusangano family, like I love that, but I think as we kind of like when we paused it, it
Mm-hmm.
was almost like a break. So the music also somehow reflected um, the state of mind I was in those years, for those
Okay.
years, and which is why I was happy with you to just do something that's chill and
Yeah.
maybe
Something different.
something completely different. And because sometimes people can just kind of expect the same thing from you once you have a name, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, I think not a lot of people knew Murli without Risangano family. So
Right.
that was in a way me just giving another side of me, giving the world like a taste of, okay, this is where I am right now,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's what that was. Yeah,
Wow. And you proved that Murley by himself is a standalone and can do it. Can do it without a question. You also brought in up and coming artists in that as well, and you shined your light on a lot of people. So yeah, there's no question of who Murley is.
yeah. But that's another thing where it's like The intangible for me was a celebration of also like the environment that we found ourselves in at the time. Was that 2019, I believe?
Yes.
And I was surrounded by so many up and amazing like rappers, local rappers, um, just straight up musicians.
Hmm.
And I'm like, it would be like, man, I'll probably regret it if I didn't take the chance and say, let me work with these people, you know? And it's a celebration of like the talent that was in Limerick at the time.
Hmm.
And I think I would always look back like on that project and be like, wow, listen to like BA, Strange Boy there,
Yes.
listen to like Aaron there, listen to, you know what I mean? So like the
Yes.
different things, like I even got King Palace to do a track with um, YP, outside of YP. And at the time he was, what was his name? What was Aaron's name at the time even? It was like,
Suicidal Romans.
Suicidal Romans. That was it at the time. You know, it was like that was just beautiful.
Very beautiful. Very beautiful. A lot of replay value that tape has. Now, to close this interview and close this, I do want to know, what are you working on right now?
That's a good question. So I'm working on a lot. I'm working on a lot of things. It's like what I would say is like I'm working on a lot of music right now. I'm probably in phase 2 of like rediscovering my, I guess, the producer in me, which means that I'm just kind of like taking things apart and putting new pieces together, and or maybe joining some of the new pieces with the older ones. Some days I wake up and I'm like, I think I'm making an album. Some days I'm like, I think I'm making a couple of albums. Um, and so yeah, there's a lot of music to come. I don't know how. I just have to figure out how I'm gonna package them and in what way I'm gonna deliver them to the world. But I am definitely in the studio. In fact,
Yes.
that's where I am 24/7.
Yeah, and we believe you. We, from what we just heard, we definitely believe you.
Okay, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So,
coming.
yes. So, guys, please look forward to what Murli has going on, and thank you guys for joining us. I'm your on-air talent, God's with Dreddy Jonas. This is Spin Southwest, your number one hit music station.